We are looking at an absolute tectonic shift in the enterprise software landscape today, and it is happening right under our noses.
SaaS as we know it is dying. The era of paying $80 per seat for software is being replaced by autonomous agent networks that do the work for pennies.
Just look at the sheer polarity of what happens when enterprises actually try to deploy this new tech. According to 2026 data from Tech, organizations that successfully deploy agentic AI are seeing a massive, and I mean massive, 171% average return on investment. That's nearly triple the ROI of traditional automation. But on the flip side, Gartner is projecting a 40% failure rate for poorly governed projects by 2027. So the stakes, they have literally never been higher. The divide between the winners and the losers comes down entirely to how these agents are deployed and, crucially, how they are priced.
So, what does this all mean for the bottom line? Well, autonomous AI completely shatters the traditional enterprise software model. Think about it. For 3 decades, the $850 billion software industry has relied heavily on per-seat licensing. And, it made sense back then. Software value scaled linearly with human headcount. But AI completely severs that link. When an autonomous agent can resolve a support ticket, reconcile a massive bank statement, or optimize a cash forecast without a human ever sitting in that seat, that per-user license, it instantly becomes an obsolete, broken metric.
And this creates a massive trap that we are calling the per-seat penalty. Traditional SaaS pricing is actually punishing vendors for technical excellence. It's crazy, right? Picture this. A vendor ships an incredible AI agent that automates 80% of a customer's workload. Awesome! The customer then fires 160 human operators, drops 160 seat licenses, and suddenly the vendor's revenue totally collapses, simply because they built great tech. Meanwhile, on the buyer's side, Bain reports that 65% of major SaaS vendors are just lazily layering AI consumption meters on top of their existing seat pricing. So you end up paying twice, once for the idle human seat and again for the AI token usage. It's totally unsustainable.
Section 1. Deep Dive Multi-Agent Architecture.
To understand why pricing must change, we really have to look under the hood at how these systems operate. Take a look at this real-world multi-agent workflow map from Capgemini. This isn't just your standard chatbot answering a basic question. This is a complex sequence of autonomous handoffs. A marketing manager sets a goal, and then specialized AI models completely take over. One agent analyzes the market trends. Another handles audience segmentation using your CRM data. A third actually writes the ad copy, while another runs parallel A/B testing and schedules the whole campaign. This is a multi-step, multi-system workflow executing autonomously. 0 humans clicking buttons between these steps.
Now, to pull that off, you need a highly specific tech stack, usually built across 5 distinct layers. Down at the base, you've got your enterprise systems, topped with a unified data fabric. Above that sits the intelligence engine powering your language models. But the real magic, that happens right here at Layer 4, the multi-agent orchestration stack. This uses frameworks like LangGraph or Ennington to manage the state of the task, route messages between the specialized agents, and handle API tool calling. This specific orchestration layer is literally what turns a static AI model into an active, working digital employee.
And it is absolutely crucial that we draw a strict line here. RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, generates text. It reads your database and talks to you. That's it. Agentic AI takes action. It can actually modify those databases, call external APIs, and execute complex workflows. Because it takes action, it requires heavily governed, completely sandboxed runtimes. That's why platforms like ServiceNow are building environments like Project Arc. They enforce strict policy-based access and create audit logs for every single file read or API called by an agent. Because at the end of the day, action requires governance.
Section 2. The New Economics. The LNG Framework.
If the underlying technology is fundamentally changing how work is executed, well, the economics have to evolve to match it. And this brings us to a fascinating solution borrowed straight from the 1970s energy sector as detailed in a recent economic paper. You see, long-term liquefied natural gas, or LNG contracts, faced a very similar problem back then: massive infrastructure costs mixed with highly volatile commodity prices. They solved it using a 3-term linear pricing framework. In our world, LLM token prices are just like Brent crude oil. They're a volatile upstream commodity. So this new SaaS pricing model uses a structural floor to cover multi-provider infrastructure costs, adds a value-linked outcome multiplier, and secures the whole shebang with a fixed platform baseline.
So how do we actually measure success in this new model? Enter the Inference Capture Ratio, or ICR.
This is the vital new monetization health metric for the agentic era. ICR calculates the outcome-linked revenue, meaning the actual money you make when the AI successfully completes a task, and divides it by the combined infrastructure and platform costs it took to execute that specific task. It completely replaces traditional SaaS metrics that frankly just don't work anymore.
Looking at the financial dashboard thresholds here, if your ICR is below 1.0, you are operating an insolvent model. You are literally losing money on every single AI task. A ratio of 1.0 to 1.8 puts you in the danger zone, where customers will start obsessively watching the meter and limiting their usage. But an ICR of 2.5 and above, that signals healthy, highly scalable AI monetization. It means the provider captures $2.50 in outcome-linked revenue for every single dollar of infrastructure cost.
And guys, this isn't just theory. Look at Salesforce Agentforce as a perfect real-world case study. Back in 2024, they launched with a pure outcome model of $2 per conversation. CFOs rejected it outright because the bills were a total mystery. So in 2025, they pivoted to 10 cents per action, but that just caused customers to throttle their usage to avoid bill shock. Finally, in 2026, they converged on the exact structure we just discussed, the Flex Agreement. It converts those idle seats into a committed baseline of ARR plus an outcome-based upside. It's unified, CFO legible, and most importantly, it actually works. If you want to master these breakthroughs and learn how to actually leverage AI in your business, scale operations, and make money online with real automation, head over to techviews10x.com. We break down the exact frameworks you need to turn frontier tech into real revenue. Check out techviews10x.com, link is on your screen.
Section 3. The 10x Playbook. Who wins and who loses? Let's synthesize this whole landscape into an exact deployment blueprint. Because right now, the market is aggressively splitting into clear winners and losers. The winners in this new era are building context-aware, heavily governed platforms. They are integrating real-time enterprise context engines and semantic layers that ground AI decisions in actual operational reality, just like we see with ServiceNow. And the losers? They are the vendors relying on ungoverned desktop wrappers and clinging for dear life to obsolete per-seat billing, charging for access rather than impact. The market simply won't support paying for an empty seat while a wrapper runs up massive inference costs.
So, what does a winning deployment actually look like in practice? Well, the data shows a proven strategy for achieving a tight 4 to 6 week payback period. First, you have to start small. Target 3 to 5 high-value, high-volume use cases. Do not attempt a massive enterprise-wide rollout on day one. Second, ground your agents in impeccably clean, unified data. Garbage in, garbage out, right? And third, fundamentally change your KPIs. Stop measuring AI adoption and start measuring the cost per resolved interaction.
The stakes here are absolutely astronomical. Generative AI is projected to automate 20 to 30% of current knowledge work tasks within this decade. If the software sector fails to hedge against this by stubbornly clinging to per-seat licensing, we are looking at a massive market contraction. Specifically, a potential $150 to $250 billion in annual recurring revenue could just be wiped out. And the crazy part? Destroyed not by a lack of innovation, but by the financial success of the very automation they built.
Which leaves us with a critical question for every enterprise leader and builder watching this explainer right now. As AI permanently decouples human labor from business value, you need to take a really hard look at your architecture. Will your software stack act as an autonomous engine of growth, or just another obsolete seat license? Autonomy is no longer just a tech frontier, it's a leadership test. To make sure you're building a true growth engine and not just buying more obsolete seats, visit techviews10x.com to access the full deployment blueprint and subscribe to TechViews 10x.